How you doing, YouTube? My name is Curtis. You're watching Super Bowl television. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe. We talk about one or more sports topics every day, and we also answer your personal questions on this show. You got a question about Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Dak Prescott? Send me your emails at superbowltelevision@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter, SBTube52. And on today's show, we're going to talk about Joe Cool. Mr. Joe Flacco. Is Joe Flacco elite? Donald?
You know better. He is not elite. No way. We've been talking about this for years. I'm telling you, we've been talking about this topic for years. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of talking about Joe Flacco.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm really sick of it.
Listen, you have to listen. There's a reason why I'm wearing this hat right here. XLVII Super Bowl champions. Joe Flacco has been leading the Ravens for 10 years. He's an Eagles fan. He can't tell me a quarterback since McNabb, who has no Super Bowl rings. Joe Flacco went to the Super Bowl. He had 0 interceptions in the playoffs and 11 touchdowns. And for 5 straight years, he led him to the playoffs, and he never lost a playoff game, and he never lost in the wild card round.
Well, you know, eliteness is much more than just what you do in the postseason, man. You know, look, it's also what you do in the regular season. The man's got to make the dance also in order for him to do good in the dance. And in the last 3 out of 4 years, and in the last 2 years, he hasn't made the dance whatsoever. And even when he made the dance in 2014, he barely made it on the final game. He barely beat the Cleveland Browns in 2014 to make it.
Listen. You talk about Joe Flacco not making the playoffs. I understand Joe Flacco has not made the playoffs 3 out of the last 5 years. But hey, we're going to talk about 2014. In 2014, he led the team to the playoffs. He went 10-6. I don't care if Joe Flacco goes 10-6, 11-5, or 9-7. If he gets in the dance, he's got a chance. Because Joe Flacco, I believe, is elite, and he's the best postseason quarterback of all time. You know it's true. In 2014, he let them past the Steelers and into New England. And they almost beat the Patriots in New England.
Did you just say he was the best postseason quarterback of all
time?
Yes,
he is.
How about Eli Manning? How about Joe Montana? How about Tom Brady? How about them? You just ignore. I'm sick of these delusional Ravens fans ignoring all the great ones. He's not the best regular season quarterback of all time, and he's definitely not the greatest postseason quarterback of all time.
Yes, he is. I'll give you that. He is not the best regular season quarterback of all time.
And he's not the greatest postseason
quarterback. But when it
of all
comes to the postseason, he's the best postseason quarterback of all time. You Ravens fans know it. You Steelers fans and Patriots fans know it.
Tom Brady's got double the postseason wins as him.
He's played longer. When Joe Flacco goes to the playoffs, there's something about the playoffs, January Joe, that comes out of him. Name the other quarterback that got 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in a postseason run.
Well, the other Joe.
Joe Montana.
Good, but he's got 4 Super Bowl wins and 4-0 in Super Bowls.
Joe Flacco's working on it. He's working on it.
I'm waiting. No quarterback has ever won the Super Bowl with a cap hit above $17.5 million. And that was Peyton Manning just the other year. But Joe Flacco's cap hit was so much that in 2016, because the cap hit would have been $28 million, the Ravens had to restructure his contract.
Look at me when you're talking to me about Joe Flacco.
The Ravens had
to talk bad about Joe Flacco. Look at me.
The Ravens had to restructure his contract so that the average hit would be $24.25 million. Well, guess what? He ain't gonna win it. The cap hit is way too much. As a matter of fact, his cap hit is more than any other quarterback this year. Even more than Derek Carr, who just signed a contract. Even more than Aaron Rodgers, the awesome Aaron Rodgers. Even more than Tom Brady.
If we did not sign Joe, listen, in 2012, Joe Flacco could have signed a contract with the Baltimore Ravens, but he chose not to, so he could gamble on himself. He could have made $16 million a year, but he gambled on himself and he won the Super Bowl. He deserved that $20 million. I'm telling you.
You mean $120 million?
$20 million a year, but $120 million altogether. If we didn't sign Joe Flacco, then who would be our quarterback? Look at the Cleveland Browns. They can't keep a quarterback.
Anybody's better than Joe Flacco. Well, maybe not quite anybody.
Anybody.
But there are 18 quarterbacks who had a better QBR last year than Joe Flacco. So obviously 19th isn't the worst, but it ain't great either. He's definitely not elite. If that's the question, this man is not elite.
He is elite.
And listen, this is the plight, y'all, that I have to deal with. I mean, some of you are sick of the question, is Joe Flacco elite? But when you live with a rabid Ravens fan who watches Joe Flacco every week like this, and you have to deal with this debate for years. You get sick of it. I am sick of talking about Joe Flacco and if he's a leader or not.
Listen, how many teams?
I'm over it.
You're an
man.
Eagles fan.
I'm over it.
You're over it. You're an Eagles fan. How many rings do your team have? Look at that. 0 rings. So when it comes to Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens, if you got a ring, then you got to take that and say that your quarterback's elite.
But I don't say that the Philadelphia Eagles are elite either. Our team has a losing record in history. I admit the truth. I'm not delusional. That's why nobody's arguing about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Listen.
So now you're making the Philadelphia Eagles the standard by which you judge all other NFL teams in eliteness?
Just because Joe Flacco makes a lot of money, it doesn't mean anything. I understand that Joe Flacco was the first quarterback of his kind to get as much money as he's gotten. You know that.
Yeah, but he's not even special in that category anymore. Like Jay Cutler and Kaepernick, $126 million. I know Kaepernick was cap friendly for the team. You know, you look at other quarterbacks, Andy Dalton, Tannehill, Ryan Tannehill, $96 million.
I know.
Still, their cap hit's not as much as Joe Flacco.
Tell me something. Of all those quarterbacks you just named, how many Super Bowls do they have?
Well, 0 combined.
0 Super Bowls combined.
But Super Bowls
Joe Flacco's got
Super
one.
Bowls aren't everything.
They are everything.
No,
they say
not.
This league is about winning. Joe Flacco has won. He got that Super Bowl, and that's final. He's elite.
So is Manning elite? Eli Manning.
Yeah. Eli Manning's elite. He's got 2 Super Bowls. In my mind, if you lead your team to the Super Bowl, you're elite. That's final. Case closed. I'm done.
So is Brad Johnson elite from 2002 who led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the Super Bowl?
That's not important. I don't even know who that is.
How about Trent Dilfer?
No, Trent Dilfer's not elite. The defense led him. But in 2012, Joe Flacco, you can talk about Ray Lewis, but in the 2012 playoff run, Joe Flacco led the Ravens to the Super Bowl.
The question is Joe Flacco elite right now? Last year, most of the year, the Ravens had the #1 defense. Go check it out. For most of the year.
I know they did.
And Joe Flacco still couldn't lead the offense above what, in the mid-20s or something in the league?
But when it counted most, in Pittsburgh, on Christmas Day,
they lost.
They might have lost, but that's when the defense fell apart. It was not Joe Flacco's fault. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Joe Flacco is elite or not? Let me know in the comments below. Listen, he is ignorant.
I'm done.
He's ignorant.
Get up.
Let me know in the comments below.
Get up.
Come on, let me know in the comments below.